Hey, welcome. We're here to talk about an introduction to engineering economy. I know sometimes this isn't the course that everyone is totally excited about, and from an engineering standpoint, though, this course is extremely important. For many years, engineering economy was not included in the curriculum. And what would happen is that engineers would be graduated and go to work, and they'd arrive at companies and organizations and have these wonderful ideas of what they thought should be done. And it would turn out that in reality, their ideas were very good, but they just weren't cost effective. And or the engineer was insistent on coming up with perfect solutions. And perfect sometimes is very costly. And often what we have to do is ensure that we come up with a solution that's effective, meets the needs of the customer, and also comes in on an established budget. And engineering economy feeds into project management because we also are being asked to meet a time schedule quite often. So engineering economy is such that it's important so that we have an idea of how much things are going to cost. In this course, we go through some fundamental equations about looking at interest, and some of us are familiar with interest already from banking that we've done. I try in this course, there should be an advantage for you in taking this course, that you learn an aspect for work, but also it applies to your personal life. Through some of the homework and the assignments that you're given, I try to not only help you learn about decisions that you'll need to do for work, but also within your personal life. I think that understanding the effects of interest when it's compounded is something that everyone should learn, and it shouldn't be through hard lessons in life that we learn about the effects of compound interest. So in the course, we're going to start with an intro to engineering economy. Just what is it? Then you're going to move into chapter 2, looking at cost concepts and design. Then we're actually going to move into chapter 4 prior to chapter 3. We're going to discuss in chapter 4 the time value of money. And when we have money, what is the advantage, other than the obvious? We all know it's great to have money. But there's a time value to that money, and we want to be investing it, and we want to know the effects of inflation and the effects of depreciation. And those come into later chapters, but the fact that we have money, if we're not using that money, there's a cost to us or the organization. And there is a benefit to having money that we have set aside for growth reasons and payroll. So then we're going to flip back to chapter 3 and go through some cost estimation techniques. Personally, I think that these two chapters are flipped, and that it's harder for the student who's studying this topic to understand cost estimating without getting some of the information that's in chapter 4. So I'm sorry that you have to flip around the book and you can't flow nice and neat, but that is the only significant change. So then we go into Chapter 5, where we talk about the evaluation of a single project. That is where all the information that we're learning in the semester early on all comes together. We're able to look at if we have a project and it has an end result and we have an initial outlay and we have what's going to be called a MAR, which has to do with our minimum acceptable rate of return. Does it make sense to do this single project? And so we'll spend quite amount of time making sure that these concepts are understood. And a lot of focus goes into this course to make sure that the evaluation of a single project, and then moving into Chapter 6 is the comparison amongst alternatives. So if we have more than one project, which project does it make sense for us to do? And if they give relatively the same outcome. So if we're trying to compare projects. So the meat of this course falls into the project evaluation. And there'll be a heavy emphasis on your learning to look at the evaluation of the project. As we get towards the end of the semester, we will talk about depreciation, taxes in the United States. We're looking at taxes within the U.S., not international. I have a small emphasis in this course on taxes. It's important to know that we have them and that you need to work them into your equations. But usually there is a cost accounting group in our companies who can best help us to understand the impact of our decisions from a tax point of view. So what I try to do is to ensure that you have enough information so that you can readily have a discussion with a tax accountant or a certified public accountant, so that you understand what they're saying to you and that you know the terms that they're going to be discussing with you. So we move through Chapter 6 and Chapter 7 pretty quickly at the end of the semester, and we will finish up in Chapter 11. Chapter 11 to me is, it's like we get to the end of this course and the most exciting part is just happening at that time. And the reason for my excitement is that it leads into how we can take this information and use it, as I mentioned, into project management. And project management is another course that I teach and I find extremely interesting. So I really hope you enjoy this semester. I am going to suggest that you buy the book. The book is available online, and some students like that because they can search. I think either one works, particularly if you happen to be taking this course online. The advantage to having a hard copy book is you could decide to keep this book, and this is a good reference book for future your future life at work. So good luck and enjoy the semester.